righty.
We're live. Hello. Hello, Mimi. And this is my friend Angela, and she's Cartomancy Mesquite. And she's actually one of the readers that I see on this screen that I've actually seen in real life, too.
Mm-hmm.
Because during COVID, when Sheila came, you came to the thing at the wine bar.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was fun.
It was nice to get to meet everybody. And we also met a couple of our regular viewers, too.
Oh, yeah. We met a lot of our regular viewers.
Yep.
And I still hear from them, and they talk about it. And I was
Mm-hmm.
talking about it yesterday when I was doing that show with Sabrina. Yesterday, I did a show with a woman named Sabrina from the Tree of Life, and she had and I posted it on my stuff. She thought I'd be able to stream with her. Well, it didn't work out that way. She didn't have the right kind of StreamYard. Trust me, guys, this is all the crap we keep in the background and don't really want to bore you with, but I could not stream at the same time she was on.
Yeah.
So kind of waiting to see if we get some folks before we start, Angela, because I don't want to miss One Golden Tone. I'm also posting this, Angela, on Substack.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
So I almost get more intelligent comments sometimes from the Substack people that watch it. And of course, a lot of them, one woman had never seen readers before. She and a bunch of her friends started watching me when I was doing Advent Crystals. And she hopped into that, and she wrote me and she said, I never thought about the fact readers would all be different. Okay.
I don't know too many that are exactly alike.
No, none of us, everybody's journey is different. And they all think we kind of started as kids seeing fanciful creatures and ghosts and things, which for some of you is true. I didn't really wake up to the fact that I was that different until I was 12. But we'll get into that for you too. But it's, some people have been there and they talk about from ground zero. They were talking to grandpa on the end of the bed. I knew my grandfather so little that I wouldn't have known who they were. I just saw a strange man. I didn't grow up in a close-knit family. And a lot of these people are like, oh, I spent as much time with my grandmother as my mother. And I'm like, really? Okay. We'll work on it. Well, anyway, we're here to do psychic profiles today.
Okay.
And Angela actually lives near me. She's Cartomancy Mesquite is her handle. And her YouTube channel is Cartomancy Mesquite. And I'll let you have, this is not part of the usual psychic profiles, but can you kind of explain to people where you've been for the last little bit?
I can cut that short. I've been in the hospital 3 times, in the emergency room 4 times. And in between all that, I got shingles and pneumonia.
Oh. And what did you do on your summer vacation? Really?
Laid in the hospital.
Well, anyway, that's Cartomancy's thing. And she's got Angela below. And I will put in the description of the show how you can find her. And she's really good, guys. She's so good that when I had an extra gig in Dallas, I tried to get her to take it because I said, it's really a Halloween gig. You'll have lots of fun. And as it ended up, the man didn't have it because his father died 2 weeks before, and he somehow thought having a Halloween party after that would sound a little miserable. Can't say as I blame him. But anyway, well, welcome. Dr. Gail's here. Hi, Dr. Gail. And we're going to start with the part of the questions I call openings and origins. Okay. And when did you first realize you might have psychic abilities?
Well, I didn't know what they were at the time, but I was very young. It would have been before I even started school. Because I would get in a difficult situation, and the answer would pop into my head. And so I thought everybody did that, but they don't.
Yeah. I thought everybody could take the test without reading the books like I could. And that didn't work either for a lot of them. They'd go, didn't you read that book? No. What's the single aha moment that you've had, or did it build gradually for you?
Mine was gradual because it was just every day. Pretty much when I was shot out of the womb, or dragged out, as it actually happened. Something happened pretty much every day.
Okay.
Yeah, I could give you story after story on that.
Well, that's fine. That's what we're here for. We have an hour to fill, dear.
Okay, and I'll let you know exactly how I did this.
Okay.
My family did not accept any of my eccentricities. And one Christmas, my 10 uncles, who were Baltimore City cops, came to visit my grandmother. They looked at the coat closet door, and there were deadbolts all the way up it. There were 11 of them. And they asked my grandmother, well, what's this all about? And I said, it flew out of my mouth. I said, Nana's got real skeletons in her closet.
Oh, dear.
And I was a little kid. But those are the kind of things that got me a lot of attention.
Yes, I'm sure. You had 10 uncles. How large was your family?
There's just plenty of them. I mean, we're everywhere.
Okay.
We populated a lot of Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Maryland.
Okay, so you're from the East.
Yeah.
More or less. Okay. How did people around you react when you shared your experiences?
They thought I was either making up a story, or they were so thunderstruck they couldn't say anything.
Okay. How did it happen as you became an adult and you wanted to share your abilities? How did that get greeted?
Basically, that got started when I got my first real job. And I was reading my cards during lunch and reading my cards, and people started noticing. And I said, well, okay, it's $10 a reading. You get a 10-minute reading. And that's how I really started building my clientele. And then I had all my friends would come to me for readings.
Okay. Cartomancy means, when you talk about the gradations and readings and cards, cartomancy means reading real playing cards, like the 52. Is that what you started with?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I have never, and I've read things about it, and a woman and I used to meet when I worked at American Airlines. We used to meet in one of the little meeting rooms at lunch and eat lunch together. She was as good a card reader as I've ever met. She read regular playing cards. I could not see what she was seeing. The numbers didn't make sense. None of it made sense to me. And she said that's how she felt like when she looked at tarot. So when you say, oh, I've tried that and it didn't work, keep trying. It's all, you're being drawn to it for some reason.
Yeah. And just read them as you see them. A lot of people try to remember the meanings. To me, that's not a good way to start out. You need to start out just looking at the pictures and see what story they tell you. You know, it's like watching an old time movie, one still frame after the other. And that's how you get the story.
It is. And you will see things and you will hear things. You'll understand things. I'm teaching a class in Tarot right now, and it's interesting. We start off the numbers, and now we've done the minor arcana. We're going to do the Fool's Journey tomorrow night, which is fun when you go through all the major arcana. And it's fun because everybody will say, but I see the card this way. And that's because that's the string of the universe they bring into the reading. Okay. You used playing cards. Did you branch out from there? I know you've shown me some other things you build.
Yeah, I read tarot cards now. I read oracle cards. And in fact, it's pretty much any kind of cards I read.
Mm-hmm.
A friend Tabitha got me a bunch of little playing card decks. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is propaganda posters.
Oh, cool.
So you can do a reading with those. You can do a reading with any card. And
Mm-hmm.
in fact, the way I really got started reading anything was from the much older. I had a great great uncle who taught me to read nature.
Mm-hmm.
He said you got to look, you got to use all your senses before you go out the door and in the morning. Do all of that. And he showed me one day when I came running down the stairs to go out and check the temperature because he had a thermometer on the tree. He said stop. So I stopped, and in about 3 seconds, this huge icicle came loose from the roof, came down and took out the entire back porch.
Woo.
He heard it.
Oh, okay.
And that's my really kind of my start of learning a lot of how to intentionally do it. When I was very tiny, it was always just something would hit me and I'd know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a very tumultuous and busy life up until my 20s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, that's good fodder. It's good training ground when you're sensitive.
Yeah, it is.
And did you have any mentors or teachers that actually taught you the craft you work with?
Yeah, my ex-mother-in-law.
Okay.
She started teaching me the playing cards when I was 13.
Oh. You weren't married at 13, I hope.
Oh, no. No.
Okay.
No,
cool.
Her son was in a big group of us kids that hung out together.
Mm-hmm.
And we went over to their house one night, and that's when she started teaching me playing cards. She picked up on me right away. She said, "You're not like the others. Come here."
Okay. And what's the best piece of advice that she gave you that you remember, or something you've carried through?
Oh, she was such a mess of a human being. She more or less taught me through her actions than any pearls of wisdom. And she was a drinker. She was a chain smoker, and she was a self-professed bar bitch.
Oh, good.
You know, one of those women that hang out in the bar. Yep.
Well, good. So, and you decided to not take up any of those habits, I take it.
Exactly.
Or you took them up and they become your example. Jules, learning to listen, says she's glad to see you're feeling better and that you're out here doing a show. Yay!
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I feel good today.
Yeah. How did you learn the difference as you were growing up from your psychic impressions, and what was your imagination?
Well, the difference for me was that to use my imagination, I had to make a headset reset to do that. Where the intuition and the psychic stuff just came to me with that unbidden.
Okay. That's a pretty good way to explain it. It's like, no, I couldn't even have imagined that. So that's pretty means that I couldn't imagine it.
Exactly.
Have there been moments when you really doubted yourself, or you packed it up and kind of walked away for a while?
I did that for my second husband for a little while because he was an evangelical.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they don't like us much.
No.
So.
No, and he didn't like me knowing things in advance either.
Yeah, especially when they're out cheating on you and doing things like that, they really take personal offense. How did you push through? How did you push through that?
Basically, after a while, when we got used to really being together, after 2-3 years, I started picking up the cards again, just for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then he died, and I just went back into it full force.
Good.
Yep.
Jan Foster said, I like the real world stories that Angela has to share. Good.
Thank you.
Jane Foster. Yeah, my first husband was a minister, but he bought me. I left all my cards behind when I got married when I was 20. And I'd already kind of abandoned a lot of it because I found out it makes you very unpopular in the dorm when you know what people are thinking. And if they know you know. And he bought me my first, I still have it. He bought me this really interesting deck. And it was all tarot based, but they'd changed all the symbols and stuff. And I used that when I worked in public broadcasting to give people stuff to do between the breaks. I'd read cards. And so it's kind of funny how you drift in and out. And yours was evangelical, took it away. And mine was, he was not an evangelical, by the way. Trust me, he was not an evangelical. But
I'm sure.
How do you handle skepticism from others and from yourself?
Skepticism from others, I tell them to just wait.
Mm-hmm.
Your attitude will change.
Mm-hmm.
Just give it a little time.
Mm-hmm.
And skepticism on my part, I may be a little skeptical of something, but I'll try it first. It's kind of like when you're learning to eat different foods.
Mm-hmm.
You take a bite, and then you might go back to it later, take another bite, and then you get used to it.
Right. Cool. Have your abilities gone through strong and weak phases?
Yes.
And have you noticed a pattern to when that happens? Or
yeah, when I'm physically down, it's harder. It doesn't come as easy.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you're definitely. I feel like I'm trudging through my information instead of walking with it or flowing with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
And how do you protect your energy?
Well, I use a lot of herbs.
Mm-hmm.
I burn sage. I burn all kinds of herbs and tobacco, sweetgrass, a whole lot of things. And then I have my these are my prayers
Mm-hmm.
that I do before I do readings.
Mm-hmm.
Before I go into the atmosphere, it's how I prepare before I leave the house to go do a reading. I prepare before I came on live with you. I did all that.
Mm-hmm.
It takes about 30 minutes to get all of my stuff done. And then I have my oils. I have my High John Conqueror and lotus oil I use. And that's how I do it. I've just got a ritual made up, a long ritual.
Do you decompress when you come back?
Yep.
Okay. Because I keep forgetting to ask people about that. And it really is important because you can't keep walking around in the world open.
Mm-hmm.
Open. Do you think psychic abilities are innate or could anyone develop them?
I think it's both.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the problem is, people have some innate abilities. They all do. I have never met a person that did none.
Mm-hmm.
But they fail to work on it. They fail to use it. There are some people who just don't bother going searching out things. When you find something special about yourself, find out about it.
Mm-hmm.
Build it up.
Good. Do you what signs have you seen people show up with and they go, I might be gifted? What do they share with you?
Generally, the most of it, when they say, I think I might be gifted, my first answer is, well, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now what's going on?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then depending on what their story is, I'll, advise them as to I'll try to advise them as to what way to go about it if they want to really do it.
Okay. Has your work changed your worldview or beliefs on life and death?
Yes, and my health has also. I've had 3 NDEs.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the last time. I'm not doing it no more. But it all shows me, it changed a lot of me. I changed so much from when I was a kid to now.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of unbelievable.
Well,
I'm more self-protective than I was.
I know.
I watch my energy.
Okay. What's the most powerful reading you've ever done that you would like to share, or one of the more powerful ones?
The most powerful and most impactful for me and my entire family was when I went to my grandmother's house when I was 16, and my mother and my Aunt Pat were there. And I told my Aunt Pat that her husband, Al, was going to kill her. He was going to murder her. And I told her that he's going to shoot you in the back of the head when you come out of work and go to your car. I didn't know where she worked or what she was doing, but I said it'll be a red brick building. You'll be parked face in. I would recommend that you, until you get your shit together, to get out of there, back into your parking space. And she did. And 2 months later, he killed her.
Yeah.
But I told her, I said that in that conversation with her, I said, you need to pack up the kids, pack up yourself, go to West Virginia. There's always a place to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
The relatives generally just absorb you as if you were, part of the scenery. You go right in and you're there. They don't lock their doors.
Mm-hmm.
You can even go in the middle of the night, make a sandwich, and go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And she wouldn't do it.
That's kind of tough when you're a kid and you get caught up in that.
Yep.
How do you deliver sensitive information or complex messages? I realized you were talking to your aunt when you were 16, and probably the gravity of what you were saying. I know it was strong, but when you get a message for someone and it's going to be heavier or more complex, because you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you deliver those kinds of messages?
Well, the first thing is I tell them, I got something to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I look around and see who's around, whether I can say it out loud in front of other people. And then I'll either just, I need you to pay attention to me. I've got something important. Let's go over it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll either do it right then, or I'll suggest that we talk later.
Mm-hmm. And do you adapt your style per client when you walk in somewhere? I mean, I used to have to look at them just across the table. They were coming right up. I didn't have time to sit and think, is it going to be a this or that?
It's usually they just have a feeling. I just get a feeling about them the minute they sit down.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what advice would you give someone who's starting to explore their gifts?
Let's see. I guess I would tell them to pay attention to the little things, to synchronicities, things like that, and to just keep going. Keeping with it is the big thing. Stop and start just takes you a whole lot longer.
Mm-hmm.
So just do a little at a time, but keep on doing it every day.
What do you wish you knew, things you know now that you wish you'd known a little bit earlier would have made it easier?
Oh, God, there's a mountain of things.
Well, then pick a couple of things off the mountain, girl.
I guess I kind of wish that I'd been a little kid for, any period of time. I grew up, it's family joke. I turned 40 on my 12th birthday.
Oh, yeah.
And I was the one who knew when things were going to happen. Like, the hot water heater's going to explode and we're going to have water everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I tell them things like that. Or I'd tell them, oh God, Uncle Ray's coming back.
Mm-hmm. Let's not deal with that guy again.
Yeah.
Are there any daily exercises that you recommend or habits that you would recommend people have?
I would recommend that the first thing they do is come up with a ritual or practice of how to protect themselves. Like
Mm-hmm.
the call in Archangel Michael
Mm-hmm.
to protect their energy.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that I meet that tells me they're going into it, I'll give them my little provision. I keep a box of those little prayer cards. They're Catholic prayer cards for the saints, and I'll give them a set of those.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And how can someone find a trustworthy psychic community or mentor?
Basically, follow everybody else. Think about it.
No.
Anybody that has a lot of followers, whether they be online or offline, you pretty much trust them. And basically just pay attention to whether they BS people on their readings. If they pull the Tower card and tell them disaster's coming, you're going to die. No, that's not the person to go to. That's not trustworthy.
Well, there are symbols people get hung up on and they try to scare people with. My answer to that is, if anyone's peddling fear, go the other way.
Yeah.
Because we're seeking light. At least I'm seeking light. I don't know what they're doing. I'm seeking light, and there was a reader, and I thought she was a decent reader, and she had a huge following, but she believed every single card had a single meaning.
Mm.
And if it's right side up, it means this. If it's upside down, it means that. And I guess if you're not used to seeing cards and listening to it, but I remember listening to her over a period of time and realizing those meanings are creeping. She's not allowing for growth. And finally, I just said, I'm not sure what I'm listening to, because it didn't strike me as real anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And now this is the easy question. What's the biggest lessons you've learned in your psychic journey?
The biggest lesson?
Lessons. Mm-hmm. Lesson, or with an S on the end.
I had one reading that I did that taught me about all the lessons I needed to know. There was this person that I totally detested at work, and she bugged me all day to read her cards. So I set up, finally at the end of the day, I said, all right, I'm not dealing with this tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Give me your money. And I threw out the cards, and the reading was seriously bad.
Mm-hmm.
And she insisted that I tell her there was a bunch of people around,
Mm-hmm.
By the next morning, the entire office was mad at me. So the biggest thing I learned was don't read for people you despise.
Mm-hmm.
Don't read in front of a crowd.
That's what I mean. Because a lot of times, I know you've read at tables, you've read at psychic fairs and stuff. One time, I was reading at the wine bar, and I always start out with what's going on around you for the next 3 months. That was my opening question. Because most people that come up, I want a reading. What do you want to know about? I don't know. So, okay, we're going to start there. And I was reading this woman, and she goes, and finally I looked up about the 5 cards in. I go, this is not clicking. This is wrong. This isn't you. And it wasn't good stuff that I was reading. So she was like, oh, I can take the bad news. And I could tell it was, plus I was reading in a wine bar, people. They'd already had a glass of wine before they got to the table. So I said, no, I'm going to pick these up. And I explained to her that sometimes you just don't get the person that's your reading. And she said, what happened? I said, there's an open space. There's a lot of people. I mean, there weren't tons of people walking through, but there were other people around. And I read her the second time, and she said, oh, these cards are spot on. And I mean, they were more pleasant cards. They weren't 100%. Oh, wonderful. Mr. Gorgeous is going to be standing outside the door when you leave here tonight. But they were good cards. And I was sitting there and I was looking at her and I go, it was the guy in the doorway. Because there was a guy that was leaning into a doorway, looked like he was waiting for friends. What I was picking up was his energy. And she said, that happens? And I said, oh, yeah. And I said, you were good. I've had people who just, oh, tell me the truth. I know I'm going to die tomorrow. No, you're not. And if you were, I wouldn't see it and the cards wouldn't tell you. They like to give you some surprises in your life.
Yep.
And,
and the one thing when I do a reading is I don't tell everybody it's going to be Hell Week. You know, I'll tell them, I will not omit saying something if something's bad in their cards. I'll put it in a way where they can cushion the blow.
Yeah, well, my theory about that is one guy said to me, what if you lay those cards and it says I'm going to be hit by a bus? And I said, I'd lay the cards down and I'd look at you and tell you to look both ways before you cross the street.
Yep.
Which
that puts it perfect.
You know, that's kind of what you try to do, guys. Teresa also builds things and does things. You make teas.
Yeah.
You make not magic. And it's KNOT, not NOT. When the first time she told me what it was, I was like, what's not magic? But this is not magic. She puts symbols together. That looks like that. And she has lots of other things she does. And she is coming back, guys. So I put what her channel is. Go like and subscribe to her channel. She needs subscribers. And if you watch my shows and you haven't liked or subscribed, please go subscribe, because I'm like 3 people away from being at 7,000. And let's make today the day that we go over the top.
Perfect. Yeah.
You know, and people say, you know, you could have a lot more subscribers if you read about politics, which is true. But I have to live with my soul, and my soul doesn't like that world much. I mean, I worked in it for years. I have a son that's in it, and I have to hear about it all the time because I have a son who's in it. But and I have to hear about it because I need to know what's going on around me. But I do not need to go take a bath in orange limeade from Washington, D.C. Thank you.
Exactly.
And
I have a comment on that. The one place where I can listen to politics and it doesn't make me crazy is you and Scott when you read them.
On Sunday.
Yep. And then I listen to some of your sons because I'm subscribed to his channel too.
Sean's channel. Yeah. Scott and I meet before we have the Sunday meetings, and I have a place where people can post questions. If you post a question to my channel, it will get on Sunday, and we will read it. But every once in a while, we'll run into a topic like when the Saturday night, everybody decided Bibi Netanyahu's dead. I don't know if he's dead or alive. I don't really care. I feel for the people of Israel, and I feel for what a jerk he is. But I just told Scott and I look at each other. We'll do 2 BB questions, and then we're done. Because if we can't get it across by then, because there's nothing we can do to make him alive again. And we don't create the AI videos where he supposedly has 6 fingers. I haven't seen that one. I've only heard about it.
Yeah, I've seen it.
What am I going to say? What have you got coming up, Angela? You're going to start doing drop-in lives, right?
Yeah, I'm going to do pop-up lives for a little while till I get back in the flow of things. And I think that's the best way to get back in. You know, just dive in and start doing pop-up lives. And
like I said, I did the show with Sabrina from Tree of Life, which apparently, I don't know how many people saw it. I know people on my channel didn't because I posted it, and then they came to my channel. They couldn't see it because she didn't have the StreamYard to do that. But I'm going to try and get that show and talk to Sabrina and pull it up and put it on. And if you're a reader and you're out there in this audience, please try to get please get your name to me, because I'm starting a new list. I've got a few people lined up. I've got someone from New Zealand or Australia. Oh, he's in Perth. He's in Australia. And a couple of other people, but I'm going to be dropping folks in. I try to drop them in at this time on Tuesdays. I may have to change it. Apparently it's getting hard for people to watch it at this time. I'm also, if I built a grid for you and somebody just subscribed to your channel, yay! If I did a grid for you, if I built a grid for you in the last 4 years, I'm going to do a grid show, and I want to be a grid testimonial show. And I'm going to have some good pictures of the grids, and I'm going to invite people in to talk about how they worked. And if it didn't work for you, come on and say it didn't work. Because I know I had a lady who wrote me a long email about why it didn't work. And her last line was, "But I'm not even trying." I mean, so, and I just sent her some energy to try.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And what else is going on? Blessings to people in the central Midwest. Apparently you have some more storms coming towards you. They're skipping over us, Angela. Yay! And, but be careful. And remember that in her infinite wisdom, Christy Nome didn't re-sign all the contracts to have all the air raid sirens go. So you can go find some. There's some good weather channels. Check them out on YouTube. I know the one I watch is Max Velocity because I think he's cute little kid. But those channels now realize there is no storm system, and there's a way you can register with them. And if you're going to get if they get a tornado warning, they will send it to you. This is how we're going to take care of each other.
Yeah.
When people say, "Well, what are we going to do when these things don't work?" We'll find another way around them. Mm-hmm. I'm still available for readings. I'm still building grids. Oh, and I came across, this is my commercial time, guys. Years before I was a reader on YouTube, I created these are like, there's my camera. These are like crystal compasses. That's what they're called. And it's 3 stones. This is what you get. It's kind of a crappy version of it, but because some tea got spilled on it. But if there are 3 stones and then a center stone that's you, and it's like a tiny grid. And you can either carry it in your pocket or you can set it up in your office. And I found about 20 of them, and I've posted them on my shop and my Shopify. If you go to my website, www.crystaldirections, this will get you there. If you go there and go to shop, they're listed. And when those 16 are gone, they're gone. But I just don't want them sitting around here not doing anything. There's Art of the Heart, Crystal Cash, and Body and Soul. And Crystal Cash is the one I have the least of. So those will probably go the fastest because people seem to think they like to make money. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine feeling that way?
No, I really can't.
Anyway, thank you, everyone who came. Thanks to Dr. Gail for dropping by. And thanks to all the people who've come into the chat. And I'm going to see what one new comment. Yeah. The Michigan Storm Chasers is another group. This is one. And then Max Velocity is he gets up in the middle of the night and does live storm chasing. Mm-hmm. And I live in a place where they come fast. If they show up, they show up, and you're doomed. I mean, not doomed, but it's nice to know they're coming.
Yes, anyway. It is.
Well, thank you, Angela. I'm so glad you got well enough to be able to come on. And maybe you and I can do some dual readings when I get myself a little more straightened around. But I'm glad to have you on because I've actually met this. I've touched this person. She actually is good at what she does, and she's had a few little setbacks. It's time for us to get going. And Catherine T, I got you your discount code. I'm going to send it to you. That's a whole nother mystery thing, isn't it? Bye, everybody. Everybody's going, what did she get a mystery code for? My.